Welcome back everyone to Bendy Lone Wolf. We're going to start this video out by cleaning up a few things. So before we actually move on to our next level, we're going to go back and clean up a few things that we missed to make sure that we absolutely have everything. So we'll start by going to the lower levels. If you remember, this is where you have the Boruses that are strapped to gurneys. In this particular run, I did not find the ink toy that I was looking for, so I just clipped it straight to finding the final item. And mainly I'm doing this, even if I don't find anything, to make sure that you see every single day, that I did go through every single day. I'm not skipping anything. Our progress so far, we still need 2 more question boxes. So we're going to get those in the later levels, but we really need to find the ink toy, and I'm also going to go and get the bowling ball. It's found in Artist's Rest. So for now, we're headed back to the lower levels. I don't care for the lower levels as much as I care for Artist's Rest, so I'm doing this one first, just to kind of get it over with. As you can see, on day 19, I again found nothing, so I cut straight to the end, picking up the final item, which, like I said before, try not to get frustrated. There are probably many times you'll go through levels after you've already moved on and found another button. So try not to get frustrated, because it is a good way to gather a lot of slugs, because we are going to be needing them here pretty soon. We'll be going into the arcade for the first time on part 6. So as you know, every 10 days you automatically get transported to the Bendy Land warehouse. We're on day 20 now. And you may be wondering, this time we got a Boris. I think it was a different animatronic last time. You may be wondering, well, we already got the arcade key the first time that we came through here. What could we possibly get for defeating these bosses again? Well, when you defeat the boss, every subsequent time you defeat the bosses, they give you a large amount of slugs as a reward. So there you go. I think we got 5, which is a pretty good amount. You know, these slugs are found pretty sparingly. It's taken us 20 days to find roughly 70 slugs. So 5 in one go, plus all the ones that are scattered around the warehouse. That's a pretty good trade-off. Also, I don't think I pointed it out the first time, but once you take a chunk of health off of the animatronic boss in the warehouse, you won't be able to hit the character again, because they're going to run away. But even if you keep trying to hit them after that third of their health is gone, it won't do anything. So you have to actually chase after them to whichever charging station that they're going to be able to hit them again. Which is kind of silly, but that's just how the game works. So here we picked up a really good chunk of slugs. This is a really good haul, and it didn't take too much time. So we'll go back to the safe house and make sure to save, of course. And if your save's coming, be sure to look. We've got 106 slugs now, which is really good. Still not enough though. Yeah, don't forget to save and then back out and upload your save to the cloud if your save's coming. So day 21, back in the lower levels, you're going to see a cut. Again, I found nothing, so we're cutting straight to the final item and running back to the lift. It can be incredibly annoying to keep going through levels, especially like for me, this one I don't care for very much, so it's very annoying to keep having to go through levels that you don't like. But I'm trying to get it over with. So we're going into day 21 now. We're going to get through quite a few days in this one. Back in the lower levels, here you'll see it'll be cut again. I'm not going to make you watch the entire thing because we've already been through this. But right there, we earned the Pest Control trophy. And that is for defeating 50 ink widows or flyers. So the bat and spider enemies. Once you take out 50 of those in total, you get the Pest Control trophy. So that was why I kept that particular clip in. So now let's go into day number 23. This time I'm going to change it up a little bit and go to the artist's rest, because I do find it's sometimes easier to find items you're looking for if you change up the levels. So I decided to give this one a try. I'm not going to show you this entire level, of course. We are going to cut over here to... This is where I find the bowling ball. And as you can see, it was just in a random locker in the artist's rest. I thought I had gotten it earlier, but it turns out I actually saved that clip and it was way later than I thought. So the bowling ball is not required for any trophies, but it is a special collectible item. And I will play bowling one time just to kind of show you what it is, but you don't get anything special from that. So it's completely up to you if you want to go hunting for that item. So now we're going into day number 24. And this time we're going to go to the music department. So this is where I will start showing full levels because this is one we've never been to. And the music department is my personal favorite. I rather enjoy the layout of these and the different things you have to do, which I guess is kind of good because we have a lot of collectibles to find here. So we need to find candles here. And those are found inside of the coffin. So if you see over in this corner here, there's a coffin leaned up against the wall. We had to run away from the ink demon, but I am going to go back and open it up. So you have to find 4 candles inside of the coffins. In addition to that, in the lockers, you will find safe house music, and that is all random. And in the toilets, when you flush the toilet, it pops the back off of the toilet, and you can sometimes find the dance steps, the safe house dance steps in there. Now, I have found dance steps in the next area that we're going to go to as well, and in the final area. So any level that has toilets that you can interact with, you're able to find the dance steps in any of those. However, I have not found any music in lockers other than here in the music department. So as you can see with the coffins, you have another one of those little mini puzzles where you have to press X on the circles in order to open it up. And once you have found all 4 candles, you will still have to continue opening those coffins until you find Sammy's mask. So you'll need a total of 5 items from the coffins. Here we have a butcher gang. We need to take him out to get our trophy. They don't appear very often, so it may take you a little while to earn the trophy for taking out 25 butcher gang. Now keep an eye on the layout of these rooms. If you enter this room in particular with the 3 sinks and the 2 toilets, there's always a coffin between the toilets. There's always a safe box, and there is always a locker. And this room will never lead anywhere else. This room will always be the end of your pathing. sometimes they string together this hallway in particular. They'll string it together multiple times, which really kind of sucks, because if you happen to get caught by the ink demon, you have a long way to walk and you have no maneuverability in that skinny hallway. So be careful of that. Try to always keep in mind where your safe box hiding place is, where the nearest one is to you. Here, we've run into this room several times. That room will it will always lead to a left and right path. They're not always open, however. Very often one of the doors will be blocked off. Here you can see this is that large toilet room, so this is going to be the only place that we go. We just found the dance blueprint in the toilet. In the coffin, we found our first candle. That was just a slug, which is, still good. We need a lot of slugs, so don't feel discouraged if you open a locker and you just get a slug, because the game that we need to play for the trophy, it requires 3 slugs per play. So you want to build up quite a bit of those before you go in and start playing it. So back in here, sometimes this tiny little alcove here has a toilet in it. Sometimes it also on the wall, you'll see it'll have a healing station. This hallway here always has a toilet on the left and a toilet on the right, and a coffin leaned up against the wall, and a piano for some reason, which if you want to, you can interact with any instrument you pass. So if you pass a piano, you can press the buttons on it if you want to. This bathroom here in particular, be careful, because lurkers like to come out of the floor there. This room always leads to the left and right. It always has a safe box, and it always has a it's not coffee, bacon soup machine. I don't know why I wanted to call it coffee. If you're lucky and he's walking around, if he's coming from behind you, you can usually hide there, but if he's coming from the main area, a lot of times he will see you even through the wall, so be careful. So as you can see, these rooms are pretty uniform. The biggest issue is typically that there are so many, like they string themselves together in such long paths. So I don't know what you think, but I would like to know, once you're finished in the music department, is this also your favorite level? I have to say it is definitely mine, and it could be because I got really good at patterning the rooms. Almost immediately when you walk in, you can tell exactly what room you're in, and you know exactly what your options are for exploration. So it makes it easier, in my opinion, to clear every room, because you know exactly where you can go. And if you work in, let's say, from left to right or from up to down in clearing your rooms, it makes it so much easier. Here I am running a little bit because being that both of these doors are blocked, there's a good chance that he may come in here and just stand there for a second, look around, and then turn around and leave because there's nowhere else to go. But unfortunately, he walked in too far and saw me hiding. And it could be because he heard me running. So do keep that in mind, that he will hear you running, which is another reason why it's a good idea just to walk. So it looks like we ended up running into an area that we hadn't explored yet, but that's okay, because if you pay attention when you're running away, you should have no problem remembering, like, we passed through, I think, 3 different rooms that we need to explore that we hadn't explored yet. So as soon as he leaves and goes in the other direction, we can make our way back and hit those couple of rooms that we missed. I love his design, and I mean the ink demon, because when you have this top-down view, you get a look at him in a way that you really can't look at him in the other Bendy games. Most of the time, you know, they're first person, so you're seeing him for almost from below him, I guess, because he's so much larger than whatever character you're playing. And you spend a lot of time running away from him and never really get to see him up close. A little bit if you're hiding in one of the safe boxes, but only through that tiny little slit in the door, so you never really get a good look at him. And here you get quite the eyeful. You can trace every rib in his back, and I think that's really awesome. I love the attention to detail. So this room here, this is the first time we come in here, there will often be something in that small booth here. In the other booth, so I guess from where we entered, the booth to the left will sometimes have an item on the table. The booth to the right always has a bacon soup machine. Be careful in there because enemies do like to appear in there. Every now and then across from the large locker, you will see one of those really small lockers. But it's not always there, and I think it might be once you get to explore the final level, maybe then they start appearing. I'm not sure, but occasionally there are small lockers there, and that's not something that's usually random. It's usually pretty static. This time there was none though. Okay, so we haven't been through here. I think we had gone this way first, and we just kind of made our way around, because you can see there that that coffin is already open. So we have already explored this area. In addition, we have only one item left to find before we can run to the lift. So that tells me we've pretty much explored everything. We just need to go and collect our last item. If you're following behind the ink demon like this, be careful to keep your distance. Stay a good ways behind him. You do not want to touch the black shadow that's following him. You can sometimes get away with it when you're playing on normal, but when you're playing on hard, he will immediately come after you if you so much as breathe on his black cloud that follows him. So be very careful when you're following that closely. Okay, here we are back in the main hub area. And you will notice a lot of the times, if you always have the 4 pathways. But if you have 3 of those pathways that are just one room, or only, 2 or 3 rooms, he's always going to go back and look around in the area where he has the most room to roam. So that can be frustrating too. But typically when you have one path that is very large, there's a lot of conjoining rooms in a path, you can usually kind of get around him, because he'll go one way. You just have to hope that he doesn't go the way that you need to go, because apparently we didn't come this way. We went the way that the ink demon went when we explored over here. But I don't think this area is going to be very large because of how large the previous area was. Here you can see there is, on the wall, there is a health thing there. It does occasionally appear in that little booth area. Sometimes it's a toilet. And I think we are now done. We have explored absolutely everything. We can just head on back and grab our final item and make our way to the lift. So if you've been using your gent sticks, you can see I have a gent stick there. That's letting me know that that's the path I need to take to grab the closest item to the lift. So once you're ready, grab it and run like hell for the lift. That's going to complete day number 24. Get back to the safe house and drop off all of your supplies. Be sure to save and upload the save if you need to. Especially if you're on hard. When I played on hard, I did not save scum the first level. Oh, look, there's our new dance. You can go and check them out. As you collect them, you can come over here to see your dance steps or hear your music that you've picked up. Right, so the first level, the studio, I just played through that because even it is harder on hard, but even on hard, it's pretty easy. But after that, I save scum. So every single day when I would complete and drop off my supplies, I would save and upload to the cloud every time. We're just going to go and check. We should have 2 candles, but let's just double check. We have 2 out of 4 candles. So we need to go back into the music department and open up more coffins. Now, I don't really know what the story is behind the coffins. You know, as in why are there coffins in a music department? Why would that be a good place to store that? I don't know. I can't think of an instrument that has a coffin-shaped case, and I was in band for about 10 years, so I don't really get it. But, you know, if it works, then it works, I guess. Maybe Sammy did it. So we grabbed our elevator button. We're in day 25 now. It can appear in multiple places, but it's always in the main room where you get out of the lift. And of course, we went straight for the ink demon. I don't know how the inner workings of the game are, but I tend to think that when you first spawn into a level, it happens more often that whichever path you decide to take, you're going to run straight into the ink demon. So even if you go into a room that has only your path you choose has only one room, he may not be in there, but when you come out, he's going to be right there. I find that happens a lot. Now, the only bad thing about the coffins is that it does take several seconds to open them up. You know, opening safes, not safes, opening up lockers and toilets is much faster, but those coffins, they take a while. They take a good bit longer than opening up the Boris cadavers. So if there's an enemy nearby, you know, you do all that work and then you have to back out and then you have to do it all over again. It doesn't save your progress. It is kind of nice, and I guess this is just a comparison to the typical games that I play. It is nice to have a weapon that is a melee weapon and you don't, you know, I play a lot of survival horror. It is my favorite genre. And a lot of the times you can just bypass enemies. You're not expected to take out every single enemy in the game. And here you really can't. You pretty much have to take out every enemy you encounter unless you're right next to a save box, because they will relentlessly chase you. So you have to. And your melee weapon doesn't deteriorate. So that is kind of nice. Like, once you have your melee weapon, you have it. You know, it's not gonna break at any point, and that is nice. So while I was yammering on, we did pick up some safe house music from inside of a locker. So it'll give you a new song to play on the record. And I did drop a gent stick in front of that area because right near the entrance there is an item that's pretty close. Here again, we have this one bathroom that never leads anywhere else. So you know, once you hit this room, it's a dead end. Come on, candles. I'd really like to find both candles in this run. I don't remember though. I don't remember if I do. Here we have found another dance blueprint. And the dance blueprints are required for a trophy, and the sheet music is required for a trophy, or a record. It's not sheet music, it's records. So you do have to find all of the safe house tunes and all of the safe house dance steps, and they each have their own trophy associated with it. And being that this is a trophy guide, I figured I'd let you know. Now, if you are playing on normal this time and then you go back for a hard run, you don't have to do all of that. So, because it's already done. So then you won't have to farm. All you have to find to continue the story are the 4 candles and the 1 Sammy's mask. But that means you have to play through at least 3 times. Even though you get the button on your second day in the music department, you'll still have to play 3 days. So if you find 2 candles on the first day and 2 candles on the second day, you're not going to find Sammy's mask until after you have all 4 candles and go back to the safe house. That's when Sammy's mask will trigger as a random hidden item. You can't find it before the candles, and you can't find it in the same run where you have found a candle, if that makes sense. And that is required story progression, is finding those. You know, I can't really explain a good reason other than the one I gave you earlier as to why the music department is my favorite.
So here's where the weird starts.
I honestly think it literally just comes down to, it's easier for me to map each room in my head. So I tend to go through this one and not be confused at all. Whereas in a lot of the other floors, I get very confused because of the layouts of the levels and the way that the rooms are situated. But I do want to know, I mean, I know we have 2 more levels to go that we have not explored yet. So when we get to the end, or if you want to tell me now, just so far, what's your favorite level and why? I would love to read it in the comments. I'm genuinely curious. So this room always has a safe box. Keep that in mind if you pass through where it is until you come upon your next one. You should always have a place to run to if the ink demon appears. Oh, good. He went away from where I was. That's nice. Because sometimes I find in there, in that particular room, sometimes even if he doesn't see you and you just go hide in there, he'll just walk up to the safe box and look at it. You know, like he does when he chases you and you hide in it. He'll always walk up to it and kind of look at it and then turn and walk away. He'll do that sometimes randomly. Okay, so I don't think we've gone into this room yet. This room is always laid out the same. You always have a hiding place, a safe box. There's always a coffin in this corner. There's always a bacon soup machine in the opposite corner. We did just find a candle, which is good. I think here I'm just kind of waiting to see if he's going to come this way. But he didn't. Sometimes up against the wall here, you'll have a box, a crate where you could possibly find weapon components. However, as I've said, when you're going through these, you don't even have to hit those crates because we cannot get our 5th weapon yet. We still have to find the ink toy before we can get the 5th weapon. There's always only one exit point from the previous room we were in as well. You can it always goes, you know, left to right, I guess. Judging from the angle we're looking at it right now, it would be left to right, but I'm sure you understand what I mean. Yeah, so that weapon crate there, I am going to break it just because, but there's not going to be a weapon component in there. We have to find the ink toy, which we can only do in the lower levels. And you see there, when that enemy flew over to me, instead of automatically aiming for the enemy, it automatically aimed for the crate. So you do have to be careful with that. If you're too close to a breakable object, Boris will automatically aim for the breakable object rather than the enemy, and that does kind of suck. I don't think in any run through of a level I've ever found more than 2 dance steps or 2 safe house records. I think that is the maximum that you can find. However, you can go through and not find any at all. I'm pretty sure that by the end I find all of the dance steps long before I find all of the records, because there were several levels I went through where I did not find any records at all. So be mindful of that. I don't think there's necessarily a limit on general collectibles. Like you could, like your maximum is 3 or something. You can only find 1 candle and 1 dance blueprint and 1 record. I don't think it's like that. But it's possible. I haven't really kept track. But I will say that when we came through here on day 24, just previous to this day, we found 2 candles and 1 dance blueprint. So maybe there is a cap. Maybe there is a cap of 3. I don't know. I'm not sure where I'm going here. It could be that I'm looking for the other piece. I must have missed it at somewhere along the way because I did leave 1 close to the lift, but I still have 1 that I haven't found. Well, it's not this way. All of this is closed off. And no matter how well you know a level, no matter how familiar you are with it, there are going to be times where this happens, where you kind of second guess yourself and you're kind of unsure of where you've already been and where you could have possibly missed something. It's bound to happen at some time or another. Okay, there it is. I don't know if I didn't come here or if I left that there purposely. It looks like I didn't come here because this coffin isn't opened and neither is that mini locker. So I must have just missed this area, and it will happen sometimes with all of the different ways that you can go and all of the different connections that other rooms can make to rooms that you're in. It's very easy to miss something like that. At least this area isn't very big because this room is always a dead end. Oh, and we found our 4th candle. Thank goodness. So we got both of the candles. We can now start looking for Sammy's mask. See there, we had 1 dance blueprint we found and 2 candles. And I don't know, did we find a record? Maybe we'll see at the end of this because we're almost done. We're going to go pick up our final item and run straight for the lift. Either I just debunked it or I just proved it that 3 is the limit. I don't know. I can't remember. Let's grab this and run. We're very close, so it was just a couple seconds. Bendy, the ink demon didn't even make it close to the lift, so we had plenty of time. Here in the safe house, you can drop off your supplies. Make sure to save. I think I'm going to come over here and check this out and see what we have so far. So we didn't get a safe house tune, but we did get another blueprint. So I think I just proved it that maybe 3 is the maximum of collectible items that you can find in 1 level. So hey, that's great. At least I am 99% sure we know 3 is the limit per day. Now we're going to run down and interact with the candles that we found. You'll see when you get there that it no longer asks for candles. It now asks for Sammy's mask, which is found in the coffins. So in the next one, in day number 26, we're going to go back to the music department and open those up. Thank you all so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe and join me back here in part 6. Until then, Khajiit always has wares.